Hey, what's going on everybody? Rob A here, and today we're taking a look at Cang Toys Ferocious. Now, this is part of what was formerly Toyworld's take on Predaking, but it's since been passed off to this other company, Cang Toys, and yeah, it's a very stylized version of the Predacons. So this is their first installment in what is going to be, I believe, a 6-part combiner rather than 5. They're going to add a gorilla into the mix. Whether or not it's going to be a full figure or if it's just going to be a bunch of spare parts that turn into a gorilla, I am not sure. They haven't really been very forthcoming with information as far as the total group of these figures. We've only seen the first 3 figures so far, and one of those has only been a render, but they did make good on their promise that we do have a first full figure out in the form of Ferocious here, their take on Rampage. And as you can see, it's a very, very nice package here. It's hard to really make out on camera, but it's like full foil packaging, which is crazy. Like your favorite Image comics from the 90s, they got that full foil packaging. Sides, the back shows off the very Zoids, like it's pretty much like a Zaberfang back here in animal mode or beast mode, whatever. But you can see it's very, very stylized, and that's kind of what drew me to the set to begin with. But very nice packaging overall. There's a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so very, very cool. Inside the package, let's go ahead and open it up. It is empty at the moment, save for some inserts and stuff. You get this very nice foam insert. You get all the instruction booklets and a little collector card, because that's a thing that they do now. And then you got this other insert for the figure itself, and I believe I've got the combiner hands stuck in there for right now. But beyond that, that's not so important. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ferocious himself. And here is Ferocious in his robot mode. This is how he comes packaged in robot mode. So, you know, I'm going to start there. But it is a very, very large and imposing figure. And if you're watching this, like, it really, reviews and videos just are not doing it justice. The actual, like, size and presence of this figure. It's got some real presence. Like in images, it kind of looks very like rectangular and kind of blocky almost. But in hand, it just you don't feel that. It really feels very dynamic and kind of organic feeling. So I just really am impressed with the overall look of this figure. Almost every surface is covered in some sort of paint or detailing. Even the washed out yellow is actually a pearlescent coating over the top of it, or I don't know if it's a pearlescent plastic, but there's something on there. Like every single bit of this figure. Now, I do want to do a quick shout out to one of the members of the TFW boards, TFW 2005, Chuck CJC, for pointing out that the sword can actually be stored on the back using the Tiger Mode bits. So that is really, really cool, and I actually love how that looks in the back there. You could even plug in the gun if you wanted to as well, but I just think that looks really, really nice. So he does have some accessories, which we will talk about right now. Let's go ahead and leave his weapons on there and just talk about this combiner mode hand really quickly. Some of you may know, some of you may not. This hand actually does transform into half of a crab, so once you get both arms, presumably, you will have both of these hands to combine into a crab, an accessory crab. Now, from the images, I'm not going to transform it just because there's only half. It's just basically you take this piece and flip it around, and then this becomes the claw. This is a die-cast piece as well, so that's pretty cool. But basically, I do wish that there was a way, and it doesn't look like there is, to actually store like the robot weapons on top of the crab or something, like it could carry all the things, but it doesn't quite look like that's going to be the case. We'll find out once we have an actual full established crab here. But this hand is quite large. I don't know if you can see, like that's my hand and that's its hand. Just for reference, here we do have MMC's Ferocious, which I will show off the hand for here. So there you go. That's the hands. So just to give you an idea of the size, but this hand is nicely posable. You can see you've got all these different positions for the digits. Each digit is articulated in 2 spots, well, I guess 3 spots technically, so you can bring these fully down should you so desire. It just looks a little funky, but you can get some nice poses out of that for sure. And the thumb as well is on a ball joint here, can go in and out, and also has 2 points of articulation. So really nice job on the hand there. All of these joints feel nice and buttery smooth, and very cool. So on to the other accessories. Here we do have this sword, which it's a little plain. It's a little, you know, weird, funky looking, but it works. I do wish there was previously a mode where you could actually flip this section out and get kind of like a long extended blade out of it. They have since done away with that, I think, just because it doesn't quite, I don't know. I'm not sure why they got rid of that. You can tell that it kind of was an implement because it kind of looks like there's a handle stuck in there. But they said recently that feature was taken out. It was never intended to be a feature in the final product, so they took it out, which, you know, it's a bummer, but whatever. I'm not really thrilled about the clear plastic here. There's this smoky plastic used on the weapon here, and I'm not super excited about that because it is meant to be a combining weapon, so I am concerned about how fragile this is going to be in the long run. But I mean, it looks kind of cool, I guess. The smoky effect does work well, I think, for these like teeth in particular, but otherwise, it's fine. And then you've got this nice tampo design on here, and yes, the sword itself is coated as well in that kind of pearlescent, almost pinkish, orangish, reddish color, just like everything else. So that's pretty cool. Let's put that aside. He does have a blaster here as well. And just got to get this out of his hand here. This blaster, I presume, will combine with the other figure's weapons because it does have these pegs on the back that don't really seem to do anything else. Also, this goes back this way, so I'm assuming there's going to be like a three-hole spot for this somewhere else. So you do get this handle. I do kind of wish there was a smaller handle on this handle that popped out, just to attach it in tiger mode, because this long handle does look very awkward in tiger mode, and I'll show that off shortly. But you can extend the barrel as well to become this really long looking rifle. So that's cool, and then it just collapses up just like that. You got some nice paint work on here, some tampos. Really nicely designed. It's very chunky and very imposing looking. Now onto the figure itself. Let's take a look at Ferocious here. So you can see the head has light piping, and I don't feel great about the light piping. It looks a little odd just on a figure of this size to have light piping, it really is very noticeable that he's just got this big clear plastic chunk in the back of his head. I'm not too thrilled about that. Plus, the eyes are yellow, the face is yellow, so the eyes do tend, when there's not direct light, the eyes do tend to get lost in that face. And especially on the tiger mode head, the eyes are very hard to make out in that tiger head there, but you know, it is what it is. I showed you the detailing on some of the parts. It's really hard to really show off all of the details of this figure because there is just so much. You can kind of put this back however you want. This technically goes like up and then this comes around, but instead of fighting with all of that, it's fine for me to just leave it like that, and it doesn't really add much of a backpack, to be honest. You do get a little tail here in robot mode, but you can also just kind of fold it up if that's not something you want. You could even like bring this up and bring this down if you wanted to kind of get rid of that tail even some more. But I think it kind of looks fine. It looks neat just like that, to have him with a little bit of a tail. Just really, really nicely done overall. Articulation wise, you get full ratcheted rotation. I'm sure you probably have seen that there, and he does have some squeak in the shoulder joints here. There is an exposed ratchet here, which is kind of strange. I feel like even with the transformation gimmick used in the body here, it is thick enough that you probably could have gotten away with embedding that ratchet inside, but maybe not, so maybe that's why they went with it. But he does have this shoulder joint that does allow for full 90 degrees out like that, and can of course swing across the front of the body and get really nicely far back there as well. Sorry about that squeak, but yeah, that ratchet is nice and solid. You get a bicep swivel here. You do get a double hinge elbow, which is very nice. You've got really nicely articulated hands. All of the fingers are individually articulated. The thumb is individually articulated and has 2 points of articulation, 1 and 1, and can go up and down like that. You've got a wrist swivel as well as a wrist like go back. That's not a technical term, but that's pretty cool because this actually has no bearing on the transformation whatsoever. It's purely for articulation, so that's really really a nice touch. Waist swivels. You can also get an ab crunch if you pull up the combiner joint there, but it's very tight, so just, you know, it's very tight. That's really all there's to say about that. So you can kind of bend it forward and then collapse it back down. But again, it's meant to hold the combiner mode arm elbow in place, so it is a very, very tight joint. These skirts all get up and out of the way, including the back here, which is on a double hinge, so you can get it even more out of the way if you want to. Legs are on. They are on ratchets. It's hard to hear because it is a bit of a squeaky joint as well, but they are on ratchets to get that much distance out. You've got an upper thigh rotation. You've got a knee bend there. You could probably squeeze a little bit more out of it if you move this panel back. Yeah, definitely. You got some nice articulation in the feet as well. You've got ankle rockers here. You got a kick up like that, and you can get really far down too. Really far down too. So you got a lot of foot articulation, as well as the toes can go up and the heel can go back to kind of accommodate whatever poses you want. The heel can also go down as well. So got lots and lots of options here. So let's do some quick size comparisons. and we'll get this guy going here. So first up, I just want to show them off with Cang Toys Sever, just to give you an idea of how large this guy is in robot mode. He looks smaller, and he is smaller by like half a head, and certainly this guy is wider. This is a beefy boy. He's definitely very chunky and very imposing in hand, but I did want to show off that, since, you know, my headcanon calls for the Predacons to be specifically to take on the Dinobots. And that's just me, but, you know, that's how I live. And, of course, Ferocious, Tigress. There you go. Soak that in, guys. Soak that in. I know Ferocious is not a huge combiner, but he's certainly large and imposing in his combined mode, so I just want to get this kind of, you know, sorted out. Let's go ahead and transform this cool cat into a cool cat. I figure I should probably throw one of these in too. So here is Masterpiece Sunstreaker next to Ferocious. So there you go. Alright guys, so transformation is, there's a lot of steps, but it's not that bad really. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and open up these arm panels here. We're going to go ahead and take the fists and just flatten the thumb down, and then bring the fingers in as close as we can. The whole idea is to get the fist as flat across the top as possible, and then we'll just rotate that in there. The fists are very difficult to get out of the forearms, I've found, so just be careful with that. I've ended up using a screwdriver and stuff to kind of dig them out, but hopefully after time they'll loosen up a little bit and won't be as big a deal. Come on. Open up these panels. Get the fist folded in. There we go. Like that. And then like that. And there you go. Next, we're going to go ahead and take these paws, pull them down, rotate the stalk down, and this whole section is going to come up like this to kind of cover up this detailing. Not sure why, but whatever, that's fine. And then just rest that right back there, kind of, sort of. There we go. That's kind of how you want that to be. And then you're just going to rotate this around. Boop. Just like that. Same on the other side. We're going to bring this around. This is going to come forward. And then just rotate back. And whoop. It was there. Why is it getting stuck now? No, there we go. Alright, get that back. And then rotate it around. There you go. So there's the arms done. Next, the upper body. Alright, so we're going to pull the tiger head out. This is going to bring the robot head out as well. Bring this around, rotate the head back, and just put it back just like that. Then we're going to bring up this section here, the neck area for the tiger. Bring these panels around to sandwich onto that. And then bring that whole thing back up. Just like that. Alright. Next up, very carefully, we're going to go ahead and untab the chest panel. Very carefully. You want to pretty much barely do it, so it's just like that much. It's going to look like it's not enough, but it's okay. I'm going to bring the side panels out. They're going to slide over the shoulders like this, and then you're going to just rock them down. And do the same on the other side. Rock it down. Then fold them up and then push the chest piece back so it locks back in. You have to be careful with this chest piece because it's on just this little clip here, and it's made so it pops off if there's too much force applied to it, but obviously you don't want to stress the joint if at all possible. It's just very tricky, so be careful. And don't feel bad about it if you knock it off, because it's very finicky. So that's just, you know, it's just life. Alright, so moving on to the back here, we got the tiger bits, the neck, top of the neck, and then this is going to be the top of the back, and we're going to go ahead and smooth this out. And this whole section, you want to bring it down kind of, it's on this little rotation joint here. You want to make sure this rotation joint is downish, because the point is this bar right here is going to end up in this little indentation in the back of the neck. So you got to bring that down, bring the neck piece down like this, and that's about where you want it, and then just plug it in. And this is just going to tab in right there on the back side. You see all these pipes will connect together. These pipes are nice and die cast, and I'm pretty sure the teeth here are die cast as well. So now that we've got the front half of the tiger all set, let's go ahead and deal with this. And I know what you're saying, this looks like it's going to be a nightmare, but it's not that bad. It's not going to be that bad. I just need to readjust the camera because we got to do some stuff here. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is untab this piece here and kind of get it up and out of the way. We'll do that on both sides. Then we're going to bring this piece out and just bring it down, just to kind of get out of the way. Let's untab these side panels from the legs. And we're going to untab this piece from here. So just get that done. And that should release up these sections, because you see how they slot in right here? That's a part you need to watch out for, because a lot of times you'll want to just like jam it in, you won't quite get it there. Alright, so now we've got this section here and this section here, and basically they need to swap spots. So we're going to go ahead, rotate this sucker around here. Like this. If it, you know, this is a lot easier to do, by the way, when you're not on camera. Just so you know, I've had no problems with this figure until I'm trying to do stuff on camera. Alright, you just bring this around. And you've got this square slot, and you got this whole thing that kind of makes a square. So, what you want to do is put this back here, swivel this back down so it's in that slot, and that's pretty much, you're just about golden. Now what you want to do is bring this section up, and we are going to collapse the rear section here. Not at that joint. It does have a double joint here. There you go. Just like that. Bring the leg down a little bit just to clear stuff out of the way. Sorry guys. And then bring this panel down. Put the knee pad down. Come on here to the underside. Flip up this bit a little so you can kind of swivel this underneath. Just press it down and tab it on like that. There. And then let's just fix up these tiger legs. So push it all up so that the whole mess is in that little square indentation I showed you before. Then we're going to rotate the armor panel around and over here. We're going to stretch this part down. There are little panels here that are going to come up and just cover this indentation. We can go ahead and close this panel up as you kind of find just a nice natural looking leg shape there. Just press those panels together. We're going to go ahead and get the leg out of the way so we can take this side skirt panel, rotate it back so that it pegs in to the side here. Let's grab our tail and untab that and just bring this down because we're going to have to mess with this in a second. I might as well do that now. It's just going to clip right in there and tab in. So go ahead and do that. Bring this around, tab it in, do the same on the other side, get the armor panel. There you go. Bring this down, fold these panels up, close that. Now we're going to go ahead and rotate the foot up like this. And what I like to do is actually kind of bring this down a little bit and put the paw up so he's walking more just like that. You like? And there he is in beast mode. And he is a very large and imposing beast, and we'll do some quick size comparisons here. So first of all, here he is with Fans Toys Scoria in beast mode, so you can get an idea of just how large he is. And you know, he's a big boy. He's definitely a big boy. And if you want to make him an even bigger boy, you can of course use that combiner joint and kind of stretch him out in the middle if you'd like a little bit of a longer body shape. It does kind of break up the center here, but it's not that bad. And also you can use the combiner joint as well to get kind of a, you know, more like a dip in the body. But yeah, that wants to go back that way though to collapse it, so just do that. But I think it actually looks fine just like this. The body's a little bit short, but it's not too bad at all. And again, I want to show them off with Mastermind Creations Tigress, just to give you an idea of the size difference. Now, Feral Rex will always hold a very special place in my heart, but this just is on a whole nother level, to be honest. Just the anatomical view of it it's very, very different. I personally love the stylized look of this guy, so that's just me. But you can attach the weapon here in beast mode. There's the hole on the back here, and it doesn't look great, unfortunately, because it does stick up quite a bit. You can extend the barrel if you want it to look even more awkward. So there is that. I'm not a fan of this look. I want to be a fan of this look because normally that's exactly what I would go for, but it just sticks up too far, and you can't really do anything about it because right underneath is the combiner port, or the combiner peg, so you can't really mess with that too much lest you destroy the stability of the combiner. And as far as I can tell, there's not really any place to store the sword in beast mode, which is also kind of a shame, but small potatoes, small potatoes. You've got some articulation in this mode as well. The tiger head is on a ball joint, so it can go all round. You can get some pretty crazy poses out of that. Very, very cool. The mouth does open and close a fair bit. I mean, he's got some big old saber fangs here, so, you know, you're not going to get too much past these teeth. These teeth are quite sharp, by the way, just so you know. All of his teeth are. Pretty sure they are all die cast with the exception of these two center teeth on the head. The ears are posable. You can push them in if that's something you're into. I kind of like them spread out personally. I think it looks a little better to me. Same rotation, same squeaky joints. You got bicep swivel. You got the elbow, which is no longer really a double elbow. It's a single elbow, but you can have them go paws down weirdly. The paw is on a stock and ball joint, so you can get crazy rotation and stuff out of that. The claws can come down for scratching. I showed you the combiner joint here, so you can stretch that and kind of twist and turn however you want. The rear legs, of course, have the swivel at the hip. You can pull this out and get some kind of outward motion as well, so that's pretty cool. You got joint here, you've got a joint here, which is just very, very tight on my figure. Not scarily tight. It's still smooth, but it just requires force, and I'm trying to do this on camera, so it's not easy. And this foot here has all the same stuff as the robot mode foot, of course. Same back and forth. You can get the paw down. You can rotate it. It's got a rocker. So really, really nice there. And again, cats walk on their toes, so I like to leave a little bit of the foot back up if possible. And of course the tail actually is really nice for a transformer tail. A lot of times the tail gets kind of the raw end of the deal. But this one has multiple points of articulation, swivels and hinges, and it's even got that obligatory Zoid gun on the tip, which is pretty awesome. You can even like fold it over his back to get a little scorpion shot going on there. So very, very cool. Oh, and one more size comparison. Here he is with an MP car, so you can see it could totally like go under his belly. So that's cool. One other thing I do want to point out is how clean this thing is once it's all buttoned up. The way they have the legs just kind of collapse into the robot mode it's pretty amazing. Like, you'd totally expect just a stand it up, pull the fists out and you're done kind of transformation, especially on something that has to have 3 different modes for combining. So just the fact that they did put all this effort into it is really, really something else, and I can't speak highly enough about the overall like quality of this figure. So speaking of combining, let's go ahead and just show them off in R mode, you know, just cuz. And there you have the arm of one very large Predaking. Here, I'll just let it rest on the knuckles there. Maybe. It does twist at the wrist, so there you go. So, that is a very large arm. It does have a bicep swivel. It does have a lower forearm swivel. It's got a 90-degree bend, so you can get all your poses that you'd like. Nice, solid, really solid ratchet there. And this piece in the center does help to support it, because when you try and rotate the arm normally, like this, I've found that sometimes the hips, the robot hips, will want to like rock back and forth in there. So this just helps to stabilize all of that from happening. But like I said, it wasn't really a big deal when I did it without. So just a heads up, just so you're aware of the situation. But I really like this arm mode. I think it's nice and it's dead solid. There's nothing jostling around here. I like that there are like claws on the elbow, so Predaking can like throw elbows around. The hand is very, very cool looking with these big crazy claw fingers. That's great. I do like that. And again, size comparison. Here's this guy, and I probably should have used shaky cam for this review because this guy is very large. But here he is with Ferocious once again, just to give you guys an idea of the size here. And again, with Masterpiece Sunstreaker, just to give you guys an idea of the size. And here's something I did. I went ahead and I made a little paper cutout of Cang Toys silhouette, if it'll focus up there. Maybe we'll, there we go. So yeah, this is the silhouette made to the scale that they claimed this figure was going to be. And if I put the arm in front of the arm there, that looks about right. This thing might actually be a smidge bigger, to be honest with you. So yeah, that is what Cang Toys, or Cang Toys is how it's actually pronounced, is going to scale. And then you've got Masterpiece Sunstreaker right there. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, overall, I am super thrilled with this figure. It took a very long time for it to get to me. It took about 20 days total shipping. Actually, longer than 20 days, but it was well worth it. The paintwork on this, the overall quality, the plastic quality feels great. Nothing feels fragile or flimsy. The joints are all solid, some of them a little squeaky. This whole joint system is scary, admittedly, because you've got so much relying on basically one connection point to the main body. But once you get it figured out, it's really more of... The trouble that I was having was because I'm trying to do it through a camera view screen and keep everything within this area so you guys can see what's going on. But if I'm just doing it, you know, just at a table or you know, just sitting down or something without a camera in front of me, it's really easy. You get it figured out in a snap. I never even opened the instruction booklet. So yeah, really solid stuff. I'm very excited. Their Tantrum should be out this month, maybe, depending on, you know, the state of the world and such. But they do have it pretty much ready to go, I think. So that's really cool. But yeah, I'm really excited about this project. And even if the Predaking aspect of it doesn't work out, the individual figure really is enough for me to be in on this set. I love the style. I know it's not going to speak to everybody. It's a very huge departure from Generation 1, and I get that, but I'm not particularly nostalgic for the aesthetic of Gen 1. I just like the characters, and I feel this is a good characterization of Rampage. I think it's a really cool update on a very cool figure. So that's going to do it for this review, guys. I want to thank you so much for your patience. I know it was a long one. I know there's a lot of stuff there. Hopefully I'll have to cut out some of that, but I do appreciate it. Check out my links in the description and all that fun stuff. I don't even know what I have in the description. Whatever. Guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.